dun 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 dun. Ha ha! Good evening, listeners. I am somewhat excited about Harry Potter, but also keen not to be sued, so not using a soundbite. Soundbite? Soundbite. Good evening, Ben. How are you?
I'm all right, buddy. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Welcome to the Drop Pod, listeners. We thunder forth towards another world that needs the Emperor's light and a little bit of chaos. So, as usual, we are on the hobby desk. We've got some nerdly stuff has started happening. A big Daemon Prince, and Ben's painted some stuff as well, I'm sure. Into the galaxy of war. There are heroes abound and mighty tales to talk of this evening. Before we head then into the mortal realms where there are snake women. Oh my flippin' days. And even some Aquarian stuff. Into the community, Warhammer Fest tickets have arrived. Lots of excitement about that, as ever. And then into the wilds, where there might just be something magical. I'm buzzing, Ben, I'm buzzing. So, guys, you know what to do. Grab some refreshments and meet us on the hobby desk.
Welcome back to a hobby desk on episode 18. Not quite such a mental hobby desk this time. More structured, I think. Less random stuff.
Structured implies we have a plan.
Yeah. Do you know one of the things that we do, Dan? We make an awful lot of plans and then don't do any of it.
Yeah, I think you're better than me.
You say that, but we had that whole Tale of Many Gamers thing for the first couple of episodes, and that was dire.
Yeah, but to be fair, I sort of didn't ever start.
It's true.
And I don't, so it's hard for you to keep up the momentum.
Yeah.
You're doing better with the Malign Portents. I've painted one model.
Yeah.
Which, to be fair, is 100%, and actually it's an infinite improvement on my previous effort.
Yeah. Why you started on a Daemon Prince when you had the Malign Portents box to do?
Well, what happened was, I tried to pick up and paint something green, and what actually happened is I picked up my Khorne Daemon Prince and sprayed him red. So, yeah.
No helping you, is it?
But he's cool.
He is cool. He is cool. To be honest, though, I've never liked it as much as I liked the metal Nurgle Daemon Prince.
Oh, that model's excellent.
It's absolutely ace. I painted that for the store. It was one of the first couple of models I painted for the store, actually. Probably a lot nicer in resin because it'll be a lot lighter and easier to work with, I think. But I really enjoy it.
The only problem with it is, like, when you painted it, it sort of diseases and burns away your brushes, so you've got to get new brushes. Because it's, like, hideous. That's the level of jokes this evening.
Yes. Yeah. I think the only problem with him is that he's quite 40k, isn't he? As a Daemon Prince.
Oh yeah, that one is, yeah. But that's alright. I can cope with that. Thing is, I wasn't actually that keen on the plastic one, but having built and painted one, I'm quite enjoying him.
Yeah.
And I built him a base yesterday with a load of cork and stuff, so I've made him about an inch higher because since he came out, so much massive stuff has come out that I don't think he would have the presence on the table if he was just on his base normal.
Yeah, yeah.
So I've lifted him up a bit, which is quite cool, or I think it's quite cool. He's got the best set of teeth ever. He's got, like, his whole lower face is just teeth. So just give him a toffee, that'll stop him. So, but he's a good way along. I've got the metal work to do on him, the pinions on the wings, and I'm going to do a little bit of weathering and the blood stuff on him, and actually do the whole thing with him. And as I said, I've done the Nurgle guy, which I did put some pictures up of. I thoroughly enjoyed doing a Nurgle dude. Got to try and drag out of my memory exactly what I did on him, so I can do some more. But
did you not write it down? Because we did speak about this last week, and you said, "Oh, yeah, I need to start a painting book again."
Yeah, but then I thought, well, I don't need to write it down. I'll just go back and listen to the hobby desk in the last episode.
Uh-huh.
So that's fine. It's all good. But I don't know. You see, I don't know if I'm going to end up building when I'm going to get round to the other plague, because I've sort of decided this week that I want to focus on stuff that I've got that's built or part built and get that finished.
Uh-huh.
So those plague bearers aren't built yet, so they're not like in that.
Well, it was nice. It was nice having you along for the conversation about Malign Portents, Dan. It's nice getting excited about it with you, but yeah.
So come on then, Mr. Malign Portents, because you've actually been working along, building up your force. So you've been doing some. I've been trying. See, I'm a bit. You're very trying at times.
I'm a bit daft when it comes to painting. I mean, I could have done my Orruks in 48 hours if I'd have done them with like a metal coloured armour or something, something easy. But no, I decided to do them white, so it's taken me bloody ages. But there we go.
Yeah, but they look good.
Well, they're at a tipping point at the moment. I think they look all right. I think there's a lot of work to do. But yeah, I think. But
you also used them as a chance to push yourself with your airbrush, didn't you? Because that's what you were saying last week.
Yeah, they were. So I think there's part of the white armour, looking at them now as I'm painting them, which I didn't do as well as the first two test models. I've oversprayed the brightest colour and not left enough of the darker stuff in the lower half of the model because I zenithed them. So yeah, there's things I could have done better with them, but I've got plenty more Orruks to do. So, but yeah, so I'm doing the Gore Grunters, the 10 Ard Boys, and the War Chanter. They're base coated and washed, and actually a lot of the red detailing has been done because I needed to do that before I washed them. And now I'll be bringing the colours back up again, pin washing the white. But I think they're coming on all right. I was kind of hopeful at the start of the week that they might be finished for the weekend to enter into the competition. And then Games Workshop Plymouth announced the 3 entries on Monday. And I was like, oh, missed that boat then. So I took my foot off the gas a little bit, but that's fine.
I've got a little bit distracted away from my Blood Bowl team as well because I wasn't able to join you on the Tuesday night extravaganza this last Tuesday, so they haven't moved along. But in awesome news, I don't know why that took me so long to think of that as a word. Relationship news, that's what I was meant to say. I got those goblins, man. I got the goblins, and we spent time together. We went and saw The Greatest Showman, which was fantastic. And I will honour our listeners by not singing little renditions of it here, but it was excellent.
Yeah?
Yeah, really very good.
Are we going to turn this into a film review segment? Because
film review, yeah.
I went to see The Shape of Water.
Did you?
Yeah, I did, yeah. With Joe. It was a bit like a modern day Beauty and the Beast with a load of sci-fi kicked in. So well,
at least that's a little bit kind of closer in that it's got some sci-fi.
Yeah. Yeah.
But more importantly, dude, I got the goblins. So I got 4 goblins. I haven't opened them or built them yet. I want to get the team painted first.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I'll do the goblins.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do with regards to the teams because I've restrained myself and not bought the Orruks for the weekend.
That's a gang.
I know, because I didn't need 3 Necromunda gangs to be painted. I'm not going to buy another Necromunda gang until I painted the other 2. But I don't know whether to finish this box set of Orruks and then do a gang and then go back to the next box set of Orruks. I think I might do the Malign Portents thing, so I might try and get all the Malign Portents options done and then move on. I don't know. Because I got the Harbinger. I forget his name. Snot Blanket Fungus Hag, or whatever he's called.
Yeah. Mushroom Head.
Stink Mullet.
We might as well get our names spot on.
Yeah, I got him. Oh, dude. His model is so nice. It's so nice. It's becoming more and more common now that, and I know a lot of people say it, and it's a bit of a cliche, but all of those Harbingers looked amazing in the pictures. But I've seen all of them now apart from the Ordinator General, and their models are so much nicer in person than they were in the pictures. That War Queen has got a real forward dynamic. She looks like she's leaping straight at your face. It's fantastic.
She looks wonderful. I'd really like to paint that model. And when I was in Games Workshop picking up Warhammer Fest tickets, they had it on the shelf.
Yeah.
And even just the packaging, I think, looks really ace.
Yes, yeah. I think the whole Malign Portents... well, we're getting off topic a little bit, but I think the whole Malign Portents packaging does look ace, apart from the dice box.
So you mention something about terrain? You looking at doing some terrain projects?
Yes. So, I said... I'm going to turn around away from the mic just quickly. I said the whole thing reminded me of a Storm of Chaos.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was flicking through the Storm of Chaos book a few days ago, and I came across a fantastic article on making effigies of Gork.
Oh, yes, I remember.
And I was like, I need to do this. I need to make an effigy of Gork. It's wicked, dude. It's the one they've got. It's got like fires, like little kind of campfires as eyes. It's so good. And then I was like, having a good old think about it. And I was looking at the Warhammer Age of Sigmar. Did we speak about this in the last podcast? But I find that Warhammer Age of Sigmar encourages you to think more than just your army and start thinking about scenery. Scenery that can go with your army, because the scenery table with its 6 different kinds of scenery, and if you're 40k players, you might not know about this, but there's 6 different sort of special kinds of scenery: damned, arcane, inspiring, deadly, mystical, and sinister. And they have impacts on the game, and you can choose to use them or not. And I was thinking about deadly as it happened. I was sitting there thinking about deadly, and I had this idea of having a cork bark round. You can get the rounds where it's like the whole tree.
Yeah.
Effectively. And have that set into one of the forest bases at an angle. And then get a Lord of the Rings spider and stick it in there, and then have like fake cobwebs all over it. So that would be my deadly terrain for my orc army.
I'm sure we did. Have we had this conversation?
I'm sure we've had this conversation.
We've spoken about having a spider in like a cork round. I'm sure we have.
But was that on the podcast?
I don't.
Oh, I didn't. But I was looking at that Gork and Walker idol for either mythical or inspiring. And I was going to try and make a piece of scenery for all of those things for my army to take around with me.
Oh, that's cool. So
any ideas? Because I've had a few. The spider's one. The idol's another.
So I reckon I'm looking at... You've got me thinking now. So for Damned, I'd probably do a great big sort of pile of skulls with the 300 skulls.
Is this for your army?
And then for Arcane, I think I'd probably do a great big pile of skulls, actually, for the skulls. And then, Inspiring, definitely a great big pile of skulls. And Deadly, probably, I think I'd go great big pile of skulls, actually. A Mystical, definitely piles of skulls, but these skulls would be like skulls. And Sinister, yeah, I'd go pile of skulls. Yeah. Yeah, so there we go. I agree. Excellent idea, Mr. Hill.
So Dan's going to do 6 piles of skulls.
No, I think it's a great idea, mate. I really do.
Yeah, I'm quite excited about it, because I think it gives me a way of building some scenery that fits with the realm I want my guys to be set in. So I can theme a table almost just by turning up with my army. And I'm going to try and aim to get them all on like the forest kind of size base, so not too big. So I should be able to fit them all in a relatively sensibly sized, really useful box.
Oh yeah. No, I think that's a great idea. I love it. So, bit of a shorter hobby desk than last time, and hopefully we'll only record it the once, as long as I press all the right buttons. So guys, thank you for joining us on the hobby desk. We are going to go off now into the darkness that is the Galaxy of War. That's the pod going into like the atmosphere of the planet, dude. Just like throw that out there. So we're hammering in
fair enough.
really hard. It's not me flushing a toilet or anything, I promise.
Well, we've been told not to call it the P pod.
Yeah, I did see that. I saw that comment. Nice to have some feedback. So anyway, we thunder through the Galaxy of War. Quite a lot of cool stuff going on in the Galaxy of War. Not as much cool stuff as the Mortal Realms. Sorry about that. But cool stuff nonetheless. So, Space Marine Heroes, Ben. You shared, was it today or yesterday? That it was today.
It was today, yeah.
Another round. So the initial flurry of Space Marine Heroes has done quite well over in Japan, it would seem. Probably quite a few shipped back to the UK from watching Facebook. And people saying, look what I've got, look what I've got. And so they're going to do some more. And it starts out with a Space Marine Terminator, looking at it.
Yeah, so I think it's worth us going over what the Space Marine Heroes actually are, before we move on. Mm-hmm. So imagine, like, sticker packs for 40k models, basically only available in Japan. So you buy a box that just says Space Marine Hero on it, and when you open it, it's a potluck as to which one you get. And there was, I think, 10 of them.
Yeah,
they made a tactical squad. Yeah, they made a tactical squad. I've got a feeling there might have been a captain as well. But anyway, they were very, very nice sculpts. Very, very nice. They're easy make ones, so 2 or 3 parts put together. And they've done very, very well in Japan. And frankly, they've probably done very, very well over here. People are buying whole rhino boxes, which is how they're displayed in like a rhino with, I think it's 20 boxes. It seems to be that if you get a rhino box, you will get all of them. That seems to be the thing.
Yeah, I think I read that actually as well. Yeah.
So I don't think I've seen anyone who has bought a Rhino box and not got the whole squad. So I don't know how much a Rhino box is. I'm imagining not cheap. But
no.
But they've done incredibly well. And there's 2 really cool pieces of news. So the first piece of news is that they are doing a wave 2, and the silhouetted sneak peek of that is a Terminator. And if they're anywhere near as good as the Unipose plastic Terminators from Space Hulk, mate, we're in for a treat.
Yeah. Did I read somewhere that it was Deathwing, or was that someone just hoping?
I think that might be speculation.
Right, okay.
To be honest, yeah. I think that might be speculation. Deathwing seems very narrow. And maybe they'll go for that. I don't know. It wouldn't be outside of the realm of possibility, but I think they're probably more likely to go for a nice generic codexy looking unit you can use for anything. But yeah, perhaps. But the second piece of cool news is that they're going to try and make them available outside of Japan. I don't think they realise just how in demand nice models would be when they're only available to one country. That might be the least shocking piece of information that's ever been revealed to anybody, but there we go. So, yeah, you only have to look at the toy market and see how much people will pay to get like Japanese only toys imported, or American only toys imported, vice versa. So, I'm really excited about those because if they release them over here, that would be really cool. Especially if they were available on the counters of news agents across the country. That would be wicked.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how it would get on, because they've obviously targeted that at a specific demographic, and it'd be interesting to see how it would get on, what it would do for the hobby if it was over here on news agent counters and stuff, wouldn't it?
I'm not entirely sure that we're quite as keen on the whole kind of marketing concept as other countries. That whole, you get a box and you open it and it's a random one of 10. I mean, you don't see people buying 40 Kinder Eggs to try and get the Kinder Egg range. But
yeah, but if those Kinder Eggs had Space Marines in, they might. Although, could they hold them? They'd be like little mini drop. Oh my goodness, they could do like a Kinder Egg, and they could do the wrapping and make it print it like a drop pod, and then have a tiny Space Marine inside.
Maybe that's their future plans for Primaris.
Oh, we have to write that. We have to write that in as a suggestion. If anyone is listening that can make that happen, I want Kinder eggs with wrapping that looks like a drop pod and a little tiny space marine inside. That would be amazing. And because they would smash, you could throw them at the table. And, oh my goodness. Yeah.
Why make them small? I'd go for a bigger size Kinder Egg and have a full size.
Because I like to think of my figure. Plus, you'd want a squad, wouldn't you? So, where would you put 10 full-size Easter eggs?
Oh no, mate! You'd have to at least buy 50, wouldn't you, to stand a chance of getting all 10?
Yeah, you would. You would. We're onto something. Games Workshop confectionery. Here we come.
Oh,
so, as the Space Marine heroes who are not likely to be available inside miniature chocolate eggs, but might be available in this country in their current form. So, other important coolness, I finished listening to Carrion Throne, which is another Emperor's Legion type book where it's got custodes in it and inquisitors, and it's all set on Terra. It's quite interesting.
Is it a 30k or 40k?
40k. 40k.
Okay. Yeah.
I didn't think it was as awesome as the other one I listened to, I think, which was called Emperor's Legion, which was flippin' incredible. But it was very good, and I like stuff with Inquisitors. But it provides, sometimes you forget just how absolutely rubbish it would be to live in the 41st millennium, in the 40k universe.
Yeah.
I mean, it is shocking. It is shocking.
Well, I think there was a line in a book that drove that home for me. Really, was the rise of the Primarch, when he's coming back into Terra, and we're talking about the queues of people.
Yes,
that really hit home to me, just how pants it is. I've got to see if I can find it quickly.
Watchers of the Throne, the Emperor's Legion, is the one that I think was amazing. And the Carrion Throne is the one I've obviously just read, or listened to, I should say. But I know that Ben Chambers has started listening to, or reading, Watchers of the Throne, the Emperor's Legion, because he keeps messaging me in capitals with moments, because it is awesome. Yeah. So, and 2 great books if you're up for playing some of the new Custode stuff, which is just coming out. Really good. Are you still looking? Because I'm trying to work on my filler.
I know, but it's such a good line that, Oh, here we go. They passed through a cavernous space of gloomy administratum offices, where queues of petitioners stretched away into the hazy middle distance. Men and women, young and old, called out their devotion and wept for joy to see the Primarch pass, yet even his presence could not draw them from their places in the queues, that their ancestors had first joined, and that their progeny would one day aspire to reach the front of. I mean, how miserable is that? I've read that 4 times when I first read that someone's entire life was spent in a queue, hoping that their child would reach the front of it.
That is the ultimate expression of being English, isn't it?
Yes.
We love queuing.
I mean, I'm assuming they tag out with other members of their family. You know, I don't know.
So they can go buy their Warhammer.
So they can go and eat and take a shit.
No, fair enough.
And create their progeny.
Yeah.
Dear. Just such a savage way. It's just appalling, isn't it? That concept. Yes. But yes, you're right. Yeah. Because I think one of the things that we spoke about it a lot. One of the things that I really enjoy reading is what actual day-to-day life is like in these worlds. And you can get kind of caught up in the massive conflicts and how rubbish they are for the soldiers. But I think, for me, 40k becomes most incredible when you start to think about the Joe blogs, the average person And what they sometimes achieve in the face of incredible odds, that gets spoke about sometimes, like colonies set up and surviving, or it's a bit like, to go back to the Iron Snakes a little bit. It's a bit, one of the bits that is written about the Iron Snakes is how they will be sometimes quite cold, in order to achieve a greater goal. So, they use psychers as well to work out, quite a lot of the successor chapters do. The Iron Skulls are big for doing it as well, where they use psychers to work out the best possible course of action for the best possible outcome. And this colony was being attacked repeatedly by Dark Eldar, and they called for help, and it just so happened the Iron Snake Company was in the area, and it came in, and it came in secretly, sort of stealthed its way in, assessed the situation, and then watched the Dark Eldar attack a few more times to lull them into a false sense of security. And then I think on the third or fourth night, then they sprung their attack. But every single day, the colony were begging them to intervene because they were losing dozens and dozens of people. I mean, imagine being those people, your saviors had arrived, and then they're like, well, hang on, you're expendable. We need to eliminate this force completely so that they don't do this to anybody else. Brutal. Yeah. Absolutely brutal.
I think what painting the picture of the normal stuff also helps to paint the picture of the Space Marines. So, and how much above a normal man like Space Marine is, in how epic he is. And talking of Iron Snakes as well, that book, Brothers of the Snake, has been reprinted for the... It has, because it won a competition.
I think it won the competition of favourite 40k book or something like that.
Yeah.
And I'm not surprised. It's a stunning book. If you haven't read it, Brothers of the Snake, go away and read it. 24th of February, it's back on sale.
If
they do it in special edition, I'm all over that. Seriously.
So that's coming out on the 24th. And talking of Inquisitors, Eisenhorn himself has got a miniature.
Oh, yes, finally.
Which is really nice to see, isn't it?
I think it's nice to see because the Eisenhorn model has always been very different from the other Inquisitor models. So he's kind of... It's difficult to explain, but you get either Inquisitors that are quite sort of Baroque and steampunky and with big wide-brimmed hats like the Spanish Inquisition, or like great shrouding cloaks and looking really sinister, or ginormous great big suits of armour with more eagles on it than, the Golden Throne. But he's kind of just like a guy in a coat. And I love that about him.
Yeah.
If he walked into a room, you'd barely be able to tell that he was anything other than just a noble or, an Arbite commander or something. Really, really cool.
Yeah. And the second model to be made that draws so much from its counterpart in the 54mm Inquisitor, because the Space Marine, Artemis.
Yes.
He was a really
I have two of them.
Wasn't he? You have two of them. Excellent.
I do. The 28mm scale one, though, I did give him the helmet.
Yeah?
Yeah, I did. I don't know why, but I think I just preferred him with the helmet.
Yep.
Because it bugged me slightly that the guy in the Inquisitor didn't wear his helmet. Although Inquisitor scale was so cool. I love the fact that a Space Marine could get shot in the head with a handgun and it would bounce off of his skull. There was no way you could kill him with a handgun shot at his skull. Because the skull was so tough. Love that. That's so good. I mean, imagine the guy coming through the door and you unloaded a 9mm clip in his head and he just kept on walking towards you. You'd be like, what is going on?
Yeah.
So, Wolverine eat your heart out.
Yeah.
So, I love that. I love the Artemis model. I wonder if they're building their way up to a 28mm scale Inquisitor.
Oh, anything can happen now, can't it? You got a flipping squat,
We do have a flipping squat. Oh, dude, the Necromunda releases. Oh, my days. The crocodiles, the cats.
Oh, all the little creatures, yeah.
The Goliath King, the Escher Queen.
That Goliath Crocker Vicious Beast thing.
Yes.
Excellent.
Actually, talking of Necromunda, somebody did ask us to do a brief history of Necromunda, didn't they? So
they did. which I'm not really old enough to know much about, so you better talk about it.
Okay, so the very first iteration of it was a game called Confrontation, which was released somewhere in the early 90s, 1990 to 92 or something. And that was in a White Dwarf magazine. And it was based a lot on Laser Strike, or whatever it was called. Oh, the set of rules that 40k was actually based on originally.
Oh, yeah.
Laser Strike, or I think it's called Laser Strike. It was much more detailed than what would eventually become Necromunda, but it was set in Necromunda. The gangs weren't outlined much at all, but there were gangers, and there was the Abductor Zarbites, and it was set on Necromunda. And then, of course, the game came out not that long afterwards, actually. And that introduced, or ditched a lot of concepts from the last one, or one or two concepts, but sort of firmed up the others. So it's sort of 3 or 4 years down the line in 95, really. And in that, you had 8 houses. So Escher, Goliath, Delac, Vansar, it might have been 6, sorry. Vansar, oh, help me out, Cawdor, Orruk. There you go.
Very good.
That's right, isn't it? 6.
Yeah.
They were the original ones. And there wasn't actually a great deal of background about those gangs. So a lot of the background, a lot of the feel of them came from the models, to be honest. The themes. They had like a little paragraph written about the nature of what they did, like Delac are spies, and Escher like kicking ass in hand-to-hand combat. Goliath had great big thugs, and that was about it. Then later on, you had something called Outlands. Oh, pulling books off my shelf. I think it's called Outlanders. And that introduced a few new concepts. One of them was the Scavies, which were in Confrontation, so they were harked back right to the start. One of them was the Ratskins, which still remain, I think, one of the most popular model series that they ever did. The Redemptionists,
I love
which are pretty cool, which are sort of crazy religious types. And the Spires. So,
they were cool. Was there something about their suits being made by the Tau?
I don't know, but they were the Spires. They were the rich, upper class, very well funded teenagers without, who were bored, effectively.
Yeah. But they all had like cool little battle suit things, didn't they?
They did.
Various descriptions.
Yeah. So they had ones with wings, and they had like ones that looked quite a lot like Iron Man with like big punchy fist things with guns on top. And they came down, they were small, so you had maybe gangs of sort of 3 or 4 people at the most, really. And then it kind of died off. I think really that was a financial thing to do with production costs personally. I don't know what you think. But,
there was a little resurgence. So when they had the specialist games team, for a little while, they did redo the rule book. I remember buying it.
Oh, yes, they did.
And there was 2 new gangs as well, I think. Not brand new, but like re-sculpted Orruks and re-sculpted Goliaths.
Yeah. They were in metal though, weren't they?
Yeah, they were in metal, but it wasn't long after that all the specialist stuff sort of wrapped up.
I think that's because they wanted to focus on Lord of the Rings.
Well, and the other, and their core games. So, because at the time the design studio was much smaller, and I remember they did say at the time, certainly they said to staff, I can remember being told that was the idea, was to focus more on the 2 main systems.
Yeah.
Oh, 3, sorry, if you include Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
But now, obviously, with the studio being bigger and economies of scale and such, it's easier to do those things.
And now they're really blowing the lid off of it. So a lot of the things that are mentioned as one-liners, like the crocodile thing for the Goliaths, they're coming back with a model. That's just wicked.
Yeah, it's great.
A lot of the rules looking at them for me hark right the way back to Confrontation. So there's a real kind of depth, I think, to the new system. They've really looked at everything they've ever produced and tried to come up with a more streamlined version of it that still has a lot of those other things in. And they're talking about expanding it onto the surface, going to different hives, having a kind of surface-based one, which I'm really hoping they're going to do a little bit like Gaslands or Gork and Walker with kind of vehicles. Oh, that would be so good. So, I think that's a potted history of Necromunda. I hope I've kept it brief as I can. But it's a really interesting game because it was one of the first specialist games, I think, other than Blood Bowl, which is quite early. And it really captured a different side of 40k that a lot of people loved. And I think you can see that in how passionate the community is about the new version, whether it's up to scratch or whether it brings back all those memories and which part of that you want to embrace. I think they're doing a cracking job. I think the new models that they've just sort of previewed at the open day are so exciting. I can't wait. I love the new Eshers. I love the new models. Every gang that they're bringing out, I just want to buy the whole damn lot.
It all does look very good, doesn't it?
Oh, I've said it before. You could be into Games Workshop and just play the specialist games, and you would never run out of things to paint.
Nope, absolutely.
At the moment. So yeah, there's a potted history of Necromunda, and I know I'm still excited about where it's going to go. I don't think it's going to slow down. Just like I don't think Blood Bowl's showing any chance of slowing down either.
No, not at all. Yeah, it's good. I'm keen to do some stuff with Necromunda. Just as soon as some gangs appear up here that people have painted, get some games going.
Yeah, well, I was going to say that there's a Goliath gang that somebody's painted set up there.
Yeah, I know. Right behind the box I'm recording into. It looks ace.
Yeah. If you were looking for the copy of the White Dwarf with Confrontation in, it has the excellent piece of artwork with the Blood Angel standing on a kind of town centre thing. It's Blood Angel, certainly a Space Marine in red power armour, with loads of what they were called scabies back then, which is just decrepit citizens gathered around him, and he's firing into them, trying to keep them under control. Do you remember that piece of artwork? Very famous.
No, but you can remind us all by taking a picture of it and stick it on Facebook.
I will.
Good. Right. I think I can sense the mortal realms and those snaky women beckoning.
Excellent. Well, we'll see you on the other side.
To the mortal realms.
Hi guys, welcome back to the Mortal Realms. A dark and sinister Mortal Realms filled with malign portents. So, mate, we've been speculating about what the malign portents actually were since November?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it's fair to say I didn't have a damned clue what they were until last week when I picked the book up. Not a clue. I think everything that we thought about it is actually wrong. So it is in part this global campaign, the name of which has escaped me momentarily.
Dread Solstice.
But it's so much more than that. So Malign Portents is actually a new way of playing in the realm of death, and a bolt-on for any game that you want to play, with a bit more of a sinister feeling to it. So it's kind of...
Does it come with an atmospheric musical CD?
Do you know it doesn't? And that would have been so cool.
That would have been immense, wouldn't it?
That would have been
Look
wicked.
at that. That is another idea to go alongside Kinder Egg Drop Pods.
Do you know what? It would...
In our letter.
let's just sort of leave it here and see if anyone's listening. And then when a CD gets put in a book, we'll be able to say, heard it first with us. So, the first part of the book, sort of brief part of the book, is sort of rehashing the story of the mortal realms, essentially. So it's a kind of reintroduction to them. So there's a couple of pages on that, Chaos Ascendant, The Revenge of High Aesir. And then it sort of goes on to talk about, what the sort of age of the Mortal Realms age was, and what the Mortal Realms, what the Malign Portents were. So, effectively, because you want to hear this, don't you?
Yeah, because I haven't got the book.
No. So you want to find out all about it.
So I just want to hear an overview.
An overview. Oh, it's so hard to explain. So, one of the coolest things I think about this is it really talks about what the realm of Shyish is and how it actually is or was and has changed over time. So, every culture that has an afterlife concept that they believe in fully enough creates that afterlife in the realm of Shyish.
Mm-hmm.
Has that ever been spoken about before?
No, I think you've told me a little bit about it, but I've not.
So I don't know what's in other books, but this was all really cool and exciting for me. So what the realm of death actually is kind of a collection of these afterlives, and there's literally as many as there are cultures. And there's obviously hell kind of afterlives, and there's blissful kind of heavenly afterlives. And if you were a wandering ghost or dead person, you could literally move between the afterlives by crossing some, what does it say, something like the seas. If you crossed a ginormous great big sea or climbed like this massive cliff, you might get to the other side and find a different afterlife.
Yeah.
Or underworld.
Mm-hmm.
And if you were a weak-minded soul, that would be enough to, that revelation could be enough to destroy you permanently.
Oh.
Which is quite scary.
Mm-hmm.
But in time, mortals started to settle in the realm of death and live alongside these spirits in the different underworlds.
Oh, right.
And if you can imagine it like a big disc, essentially, and round the edges is where the magic of the kind of the universe is. It seeps into the edges, the magic of death. And if you stray too close to the edges, it can literally age, for example. This is an example they give. It can age a mortal living person 100 years in a day.
Oh, I see.
So they would populate the middle where the magic wasn't quite so profound.
Yeah.
And what Nagash has done, now, you probably know about, I forget the name of it, but the Realmstone. Have you heard of Realmstone?
No, I don't think so.
So every realm has a different has Realmstone, and it takes a different form in every realm that you're in. So I think in sort of the realm of fire, it's like black coal that's always burning.
Oh, right, yeah.
For example. But in the realm of death, it's sand. So it's like sand like granules, and it's all different colours of it. And those kind of granules represent sort of a person's fate in real life. So all of the living people in all the other realms have a number of these grains of sand each.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
Yeah.
It's quite complicated, but,
I just love the fact that you're telling me about the mortal realms. That's just great.
So,
you
what
have
Nagash
been
has done,
captured by the magic.
What Nagash has done is send out his skeletons because most of these grains of the realm, Realmstone or whatever it's called, is at the edge of the realm.
Yeah.
And he's sent out his skeletons to go and pick them up and bring them back to the centre. And that's been going on for decades, because they're only carrying one at a time. But what's happening is if they pick up a piece of somebody's realm stone, sand, and bring it back to the middle, then they're shortening the person's life it belongs to. So, and then what Nagash is doing is melting them down and forming them into blocks and building like a huge city in the middle, including the upside down pyramid, the Pyramid of Nagash, using this stone and in doing that, concentrating the magic in the center rather than around the edges. And the process of doing that has created the Malign Portents in all the other realms.
Oh.
Because the kind of the realm of death is in effect a sort of reflection of the afterlives and lives of all the living people in those other realms.
Yeah.
And that's what's creating the Malign Portents.
Ooh.
And all the others. So people weren't really sure what was going on, to be honest. And even Sigmar was a little bit like, what shit happens all the time in the mortal realms. There's, this stuff isn't unusual. And then one of his generals had like this massive premonition and went to him and said, "Look, I think we need to take this a bit more seriously." And he listened to what this guy told him and realised that actually there was more to this. So he went up into the heavens and dragged down sort of these meteorites and threw them at the world. And where they landed, that's where the War Scryer citadels were built.
What, in Shaish?
Everywhere. They threw them all over the place.
Oh, right.
So,
okay, yeah.
So I can't remember every detail of it, and I really wish I could. So, legend has it the process hurt him. So scooping them from the skies in one great motion, he hurled them with all his might across the cosmos, and hundreds of comets burning through the etheric void, flickering with azure flames as Sigmar's will. In every realm saved Azir herself, those looked up to the firmament to witness a meteor shower like no other. The God King's undertaking was more than a mere spectacle, however. The meteors plunged through the crowd and fogged thickened miasmas to strike home with earth-shattering force, and embedded in each one into the land, freed from the yoke of chaos. Only then did Sigmar reveal his trusted warriors what was intended. So essentially, inside each one of them was Realmstone. And
what, Realmstone from Azir?
No, from the heavens.
Yeah.
So and as they passed into the realms, they kind of created they became the Realmstone of those realms.
Oh right, okay.
So and from these massive meteorites, different people have come to sort of find them and do something with them, but he sent down ordinators to every single one of them to try and... So they became kind of focuses of battles to try, because where some of them had been sort of captured by chaos or random other things, they would fight to get them back. Yeah. Because they were really important, powerful sort of sites to help him see into the future and use this, the Realmstone to do other things.
Oh, right, yeah.
So the one that was released represents where a city of free peoples have sort of seen this thing land and gone and built one of those weird buildings on top. Yeah. Which I quite liked, because when I saw that, I was like, well, the Ordinator can't be a very good building because that is just rubbish. So the master builders are clearly not that great, but now I know that they represent like where the free peoples have just sort of gone, oh, look, and stuck a building.
Built a random place.
Yeah. So, how do the Malign Portents work in game? Well, essentially, the more kind of sinister your army, or sinister the circumstances they're in, the more prophecy points you generate. So you get a number if you're fighting in the realm of death, 3. You get another 3 if you've got one of the harbingers in your army. You get another 3 because you generate them every turn. You get another 3 if one of your heroes is garrisoning a War Scryer citadel. Mm-hmm. And for every priest or wizard from your army that's on the battlefield, you get +1. Mm-hmm. At the start of the game, you choose your Malign Portents, and there's 6 of them. And then you can spend those prophecy points every turn for what is essentially a little bit like a stratagem from 40k.
Yeah. Okay.
So if you will humour me, I'm going to give an example. So the Writhing Serpent is one of them. And for 2 prophecy points, you can spend all of your prophecy points. You can't spend them twice on the same card. You can't spend them on the same cards. You can't have, say, this one, the black spot, twice. But you can choose 3 or 4 if you can, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I understand.
And a hero can interpret them, but you have to designate who it is that's interpreting them.
Yeah.
So, the black spot, a particular foe is marked for a violent death. The visionary finds their attacks guided by the serpent to better bring it about. Interpret this sign in any combat phase immediately after picking the interpreter to fight. Pick an enemy hero within 1 inch of that interpreter. In that phase, reroll wounds of 1 for any attacks made by the interpreter that target the enemy hero.
Oh, okay. So they're not like ridiculous.
No, they're not ridiculous. Well, that's a 2.1. If I can find a 5.1. Same malign portent, the writhing serpent. Dazzling insight. The hero has learned well of the serpent's wicked intent. He makes his insights known, better to help his allies avoid death. Interpret this sign in your hero phase, and for the rest of the turn, subtract 1 from hit rolls for enemy units while they are wholly within 9 inches of the interpreter. That's 5 prophecy points.
Oh, right, okay.
And I don't think I've found one that's over 5.
No.
So, equally, as well, if you have a harbinger in your army, they can use their prophecy points to choose from their own sign as well as the malign portents for the army. So, if you're Stink Mullet, you can choose from the signs of Gork and Walker.
Oh, right, I see.
So they effectively get a second set to choose from that's specific to your army, and they're quite cool. So, Sign of Gork. The grin of Gork and Walker splits the sky, becoming the bellowing face of a brutal but cunning god that inspires greenskins to war. Interpret the sign at the start of your charge phase. Pick a friendly destruction unit wholly within 18 of the interpreter. In that phase, you can reroll charge rolls for that unit. In addition, reroll hits of 1 for that unit in the following combat phase. That's 4 prophecy points.
Yeah, so that's good. So again, and we spoke about this last week, the use of wholly within, I think is really interesting because
changes the way to encourage your setup quite a lot.
Yeah,
doesn't it?
and if that is rolled out across existing rules, it will change army composition.
Yes,
and the way things are played quite a bit.
Yeah.
Okay, so it sounds pretty cool.
There's also rules for skirmish as well, which I don't know enough about. I don't know enough about skirmish, but there is a whole set of rules for it.
Oh, well, that's good as well then. Oh, that's quite exciting.
So it is essentially a bolt-on for the game to sort of spice it up a bit. There's 2 pages of rules of how to play in Shaiish, which is quite cool. So the different realmscape features and the power of death, which is quite cool. Which is an effect that happens every turn, depending on how many units are slain.
Yeah.
You roll a d6 and add the number of units slain, and then it creates this effect that affects the battlefield for that turn. And they can be quite savage. So if you score a 2, every unit on the battlefield suffers a mortal wound.
What? That's pretty good. Well, I've got my first Dread Solstice game on the Wednesday.
Cool, yeah.
Against Mr. Wosley's Watchamajigs.
In the store?
No, we'll be playing at my house.
How are you going to log it?
Go to the shop.
Okay, yeah, okay. So that's something you can do, is it? Play the game at home and then both go in and declare it?
I don't know. I have assumed as such. He knows. He's read all the stuff on the...
He's read about it.
Yeah, I'm basically like some kind of vampire at the moment. I'm just getting all my actual from the book knowledge from you, and Dan's reading the website, and I just play the games.
Yeah,
good
times.
That's
fair enough. So I really liked it. I really thoroughly enjoyed reading that through, and I've probably done a really bad job at getting across the background of it, but it's very cool. One of the things that it's sort of other reveal is there aren't just 4 harbingers. The named ones, so Stink Mullet, Snazgar Stink Mullet, is an example of a harbinger.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense.
Yeah, it does.
So everyone's heading to Shaiish to try and deal with this, because one of the things the book goes into is how all of the other groups and alliances and Chaos Gods, how each of the Chaos Gods react to finding out the piece of information. So Slanesh is sat there like, oh, they're having a bit of a plaything. And then he comes to the realization that if everyone's dead, then the world is going to be very, very boring. So he gets, and Nurgle's stirring his big pot, and he's like, oh, it smells a bit funny. It doesn't smell right. And then, he realizes there's something wrong with it. And then the snake that kind of binds the top undoes, and it spills on the floor, and he gets in a panic. And then scoops it back in and puts it in and rejoins the snake. And he's like, oh my God, what's going on? I need to do something about this. Khorne crushes a skull, I think, and throws it at the mortal realms, and all the particles lodge in the minds of his followers, and give them visions of what he wants them to do, which is quite cool. But it tells you how all of the different gods react, and it tells you how the orcs react. The orcs
so
feel
you do know that, like, I'm still, like, part way through a month where I'm not allowed to buy anything. You stop talking, because this is too good now.
Yeah, sorry.
I want to read it now. Flippin' heck.
It is good. Yeah,
it sounds very good. Very good. Oh, that's awesome.
I'm particularly taken with the realm of Shaish, how that was described. And I didn't do a very good job of it, I'm sorry. But those different interlocking underworlds, and the cool thing is a bit Terry Pratchett-y, so if they believe...
it's interesting, because you've said a couple of things. So one is about how the realm, the sort of afterlife comes into being based on if people believe in it enough, which is how their gods work. And you've mentioned that the thing is disc-shaped.
Yes. It roughly describes it as disc-shaped, yeah. That's the impression I got from reading it. Absolutely.
So yes, very Terry Pratchett. But that's not a bad thing.
Well, no, one of the things that's also worth pointing out is that along with an underworld, they create deities. So there are kind of mini-gods in charge of these underworlds, which is really cool.
Mm.
And one of the things that Nagash did is conquer a lot of these underworlds and kill the gods in them and take their power.
Yeah.
So to make himself even more powerful.
Mm.
But I love the idea of the realm stone on different places. And I love the fact that Shaish, in its original purest form before Nagash got his teeth into it, it was quite a cool place.
Yeah.
It had its bad places where the people's hells, but it also had places of absolute beauty.
Yeah.
And there's a really good story. I've got to tell you this story. Okay, so there's an island in the realm of death, and on it is a place. There's two cities. So I think it's Eastfold and Westfold, because they were really imaginative in naming it. But the Westerners are kind of newly settled, or relatively newly settled, Azurites, and the Easterners are people who have lived in the realm of death for some time, and they've kind of come from the outskirts and built a city there. And when the Malign Portents started happening, the Westerners were like, oh, we must prepare ourselves. And they started to drill their armies even more and create more artillery. But the people who had sort of lived in the realm of death for longer started to just adorn themselves with every kind of charm that they could find. So they were wearing sheaths of wheat and teeth necklaces and crow wings, and just adorning themselves and all this random stuff. And the Westerners were like, what are they doing? What a bunch of hillbillies. And then when the armies of death of Nagash came to take the realm, take the island, it talks about how both of the forces did really well, but in their own way. So the Westerners were like, their artillery was pounding them into dust, and their, disciplined units were, cutting through this, that, and the other, but eventually they fell first. But the Easterners were using all of their sort of talents that they'd picked up and superstition that they'd picked up from living there for so long, and all of these kind of trinkets were helping them fight the undead in their own kind of weird way. It's so good. It's so cool. And in that, you had these two perfect kind of templates for an army from the realm of death. So you could have like an Eastfold army with guys with bat wings on them and stuff, and random stuff hanging from them, and or like a disciplined army of artillery and goodness knows what. So yeah, really excited by it.
Good. Well, it sounds good, and I'm glad you're excited about it. Especially seeing as you're actually getting your Orruks painted.
Yes, I am. And
Good.
another piece of small excited news is Joe's been eyeing up my Sylvaneth.
Oh, brilliant. Well, that's cool.
She's thinking of starting painting the Dryads on Tuesday night with us, so...
Oh, that'll be ace. Well, I love the Sylvaneth range, so I'm glad to hear that. That's cool.
I do.
It's really nice.
So, Malign Portents.
Nothing much else happening, like along the lines of Marathi or anything, is there?
No, and we can talk about that. We should talk about that. So, how do we get across how excited we were, like a couple of hours ago when we saw that model?
Mate. Well, I said I think it's one of the finest examples of a plastic miniature I've ever seen. I just think it's absolutely incredible. Or a miniature full stop. It's so dynamic and just the curves. That sounds awful, doesn't it?
It's a snake. We're not talking about a woman. It's a snake.
The curves. It's a snake woman with great curves.
I'm quite interested to know whether they spent some time working out where the point of balance is on it. Because it's off to one side and the wings are spread, so...
Well, they must have done, otherwise it would be a picture of it falling over, wouldn't it?
But it's so clever.
But it's amazing, dude. The wings. Oh, my goodness. And the pillar. And, oh, my goodness. It's just amazing. Love it.
It is.
Really nice centerpiece. And such a... Oh, it's just... I know we spoke about this anyway because we saw the video of all the range, but it's just such a nice enlarging of the range. Starting with the Witch Elves and just taking that concept and that look and injecting a bit of Age of Sigmar-ness into it, which is that kind of no-holds-barred madness.
What was the name of the Dark Elf thing? I didn't collect Dark Elves, I just killed them. Have I got the book? That was like that, the Snake Woman.
The Medusae thing.
Yeah, the Medusae. That's where they've got the concept from, isn't it?
Yeah, that thing. For the snake.
Whatever that thing is. I have got the old Dark Elf Codex. I'm currently looking at it and can't find it. Burning my fingers by touching it.
Bloodrack Medusae.
Bloodrack Medusae, that's it. How did you remember that?
Oh, I don't know, but it was cool. So
it was. I've got that model.
She's awesome, and you get two forms. She comes in two forms.
That is such a cool concept, dude. To have two models.
Well, what I really like though is how you can basically choose to transform her because she's in one form she's like magically awesome, and in the other form she's like I'm going to crush you all, awesome, but. If she gets wounded, she can lose control and become like really livid and turn into the more angry snake form.
Yeah.
When you don't want her to.
Yeah.
And what would be really interesting as well is presumably when she's in snake form, she's got the monster keyword. So if you've got stuff which is good against the monster keyword, then you might get times where you want to kind of force her to go monster and then kick her in the face. Yeah,
something like the Orruk Brutes where they get more bonuses to hit if their wounds are high enough.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I like that idea. So yes, Morathi, flipping awesome looking. And somebody
and a great
mentioned...
new concept. The fact that there's two models in the same box. I just think that's a great new concept.
Yeah, it's cool. Very cool. And somebody was saying on Facebook when I posted a video about Slaanesh, and this range is really making me think they could really do some awesome stuff with Slaanesh. Really awesome. So yeah, really, really cool. I needed to give a shout out to Mr. Pedersmith because he was on here chatting last week, and this week he has done what he has now termed the full Dan Jolly. He's even given it his hashtag. And went in to pick up some paint or something and has come out with an army of Stormcast and some Malign Portents stuff. So it's great to see Tom getting on the Stormcasty wagon because I've been hoping for that for some time. So it's really cool. And lastly, and by no means least, you can now buy some... Well, you can't buy it yet, but there has been some sneak peeks of aquarium furniture.
Oh, yes. It's so good.
Hasn't there?
So good.
So I showed you that video just before we started recording and you just tears of laughter.
Oh, it's so funny. It's absolutely brilliant. The way it starts all dramatic and deep and then pans out to an aquarium scene with cheesy lift music. I think it's so good.
It's great, isn't it?
Really looking forward to that.
So yeah, really exciting. Much like last year, really. Kicking off the year with some really exciting Age of Sigmar stuff. Not to mention, obviously we had the Custodes as well, so yeah.
I think, do you think that, because they talk about the ship as one of the Malign, although it's not one of the Malign Portents in the book, but it's obviously an omen that turned up, because they talk about the empty ship and they talk about the village in the Malign Portents book, but not as Malign Portent, if that makes any sense at all. But I wonder if they're going to do things for each of those things that they were sort of sneak peeking beforehand. Remember, there's the ship, the village, the statue.
Yeah.
What was the other ones? You know what I mean.
I do know what you mean.
If you don't, if people listening don't, then go on the Malign Portents website. The mini videos.
There was one. Was there a Watchtower one?
Yes, that's it. Watchtower. Well, that could be the Warcry Citadels, but War Scryer Citadel. Oh, whatever. Them things in the big ass box. Talking of big ass boxes, we should move on to the into the community, so I can have a rant about the size of the box I had delivered.
Okay, well, in that case, let's leave the quite detailed, exciting, sometimes head-scratching Mortal Realms from today and go and hail to the community.
But don't you think it's exciting that it is a little bit confusing? Not in a rules sense.
I've done the sign-off. The listeners want to move on.
Because I just feel like I want to know more.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Bye.
Bye.
The drop pod arrives in the community. Hello. Sorry, I just had this vision of it just turning up, popping through a door. Anyway, enough of that silliness. We shall be talking today about Warhammer Fest. So you got your ticket in a box of epic proportions.
Seriously. Like, it's a good foot wide, half a foot deep, and 6 inches deep and half a foot wide.
Oh, okay.
It's big.
Do you know how mine arrived?
In an envelope?
No, it was being borne aloft by a small sort of flock of servitor cherubim creatures that sort of floated it down in epicness to my door and then posted it.
Right. In a massive box?
No, that was in my head.
Okay.
No, it didn't come in a massive box, but it came in a cool sort of cardboard envelope. I'm getting excited about a cardboard envelope.
So you had a cardboard envelope and I had a stupid box.
You had a box, yeah, but it's got to get through Cornwall, hasn't it?
I got a message from Joe going, "What have you bought?" It's like, I don't know. Genuinely don't know.
I bet that was somebody up there in the packing department was like, "Oh, we'll get this guy in trouble with his missus." Oh, put in the big box.
It's like Amazon, isn't it? When you order like a toothbrush and get it in a box the size of a laptop or something. or even bigger, you know. Oh, it's crazy. It's funny, but crazy.
Yes. So, aside from the packaging choices, tickets have come. Excitement is had. Hotel is booked.
Do you
There's
know what the packaging reminds me
of? Us.
It reminds me of the old Trolls.
Have we gone back now?
We have gone back. Yeah.
Right, okay. Yeah, the Trolls.
When mail order used to be staffed by Trolls.
Oh, yes.
It would make it much more sense in my head if I just imagined this troll shoving it in whatever box he had to hand and throwing it out the door. Like lobbing it at the head of the postman as he ran past. No, this one. No, take out, no, Cornwall.
Nice. So,
anyway, yeah, hotel.
Oh dear. So hotel is booked.
Yep.
So what do we know about what are we doing at Warhammer Fest? Are we taking Blood Bowl and Shadespire?
I think so. Yeah, I mean, kudos to anyone who wants to go to Warhammer Fest and play in the tournament and have the big games on the tables. But I've thought about it long and hard. And frankly, I want to take something which is more robust, smaller, and will fit in my backpack. And I can do that. I can put a team, a Shadespire team, my deck, the boards, a PVC Blood Bowl pitch, and, you know, all of the accoutrements for my Goblin team in my rucksack, and not have to cart around an army all day, because I'm really hands-on at Warhammer Fest. I like to get and chat to all the people, and if I can get involved in, my head stuck into one of the display tables, I'll do that. I don't want to be rummaging or trying to scrummage to see the golden demons with 4 carry cases. No thanks.
No.
Partly because I'd be half tempted to slap people around the head with them. Out of my way! I want to...
No fighting.
No. Yeah, I think I just want something compact that I can fit in a hard box and I can keep it safe for the weekend, so that's what I'm going to do. And I think Shadespire and Blood Bowl are perfect kind of... Mind you, they haven't said that. Blood Bowl's games can last a while, so... Yeah,
but then I suppose it depends, really. What's going on there?
Well,
and how much we get into everything.
Last year we got ridiculously excited and went round everything all really quickly, and then did it again, and then spent the rest of the day shopping.
Well, we're going for 2 days, aren't we?
This year we're going to go
Last year we went for 2 days, and we the second day we went up to Warhammer World.
We did, yeah. And we missed the Dreadnought.
And we missed the Dreadnought, so probably won't do that this time.
No.
So the first day, I want to go to some seminars, have a chat. I'd like to sort of gain loads of info out of the army painting team on how I can paint stuff so fast that I just come home and it's all done.
Yeah, I could tell you the answer to that.
You can't.
I can. It's called a painting studio. Just send them. That's how you go away and come back and they're done.
Yeah. That'd be good. But yeah, I do want to take something to play, and I'd probably take some clippers and glue.
Yeah, I think so.
Because you get sort of excited, you get this hobby buzz, and then you want to do some hobby, and you're like, oh, damn it, all my hobby's at home.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, we need to make a hobby bus. That's what we need to do.
Call it the pod.
Yeah! And paint it green.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea if we won the lottery, but before then.
Yeah, but imagine it, dude. We could do, make a double-decker type hobby bus, and then we could have, rooms in the back so we can go to sleep, and then gaming tables, and then a painting area. Oh, it'd be brilliant.
Uh-huh.
Yes. Well, I'll put that in my book of things I want to do when I have a midlife crisis.
Things I want to do, but will never happen.
Well, we'll see.
So, I think it would be quite cool. If anyone wants to play us at Shadespire, or fancy whooping our ass at Blood Bowl, they could give us a shout out. We could try and meet up.
Or we could, I know you don't drink, but I do. So if anyone wants to buy Ben or me a drink, then I'll drink them. That'd be ace.
Yeah.
So, and we're staying up the road at the Premier Inn.
Yes.
So, if anybody is going, it would be good to meet some people. Play some people.
I'm quite excited about what they're actually going to have there.
Well, me too, because apparently they're going to do one of the proper studio previews this year, like they've done at the Las Vegas Open, where they actually were like, here's some new stuff that you've not seen.
Well, also, last year, it was a 40k 8th edition.
Yes.
And that was a huge release. And they've been very coy about what's coming out over that kind of period. At the moment, I mean, we were getting sneak peeks of Malign Portents for donkey's years, but we haven't had anything past the Dark Elves yet, or the Daughters of Khaine. So I'm quite excited about what's coming up. I've got a feeling it's going to be something big, and then we're going to see a lot more of it at Warhammer Fest. That's what I think. But then I'm normally wrong about this stuff. I thought Malign Portents was going to be a new box set, so I wouldn't bother listening to me at all.
Well, hopefully someone will bother listening to you. Don't need to take on board what you say, but at least listen.
Yeah.
So yes, we're going. There's 6 of us, I think, going at the moment.
Yeah,
possibly more. Which is good.
We might need to hire a bus. The group's increasing.
Yeah.
You can't.
Or use the boot.
I was proven wrong when we went up to.
We did fit all the stuff in.
Yeah, we did. I was completely convinced we wouldn't.
But yeah, I think we'll be taking more than one car.
Good.
This time. Right, dude. Warhammer Fest, very exciting. We're going to talk about it some more as it gets closer and we find out more about what's going on. But for now, it's time to go to the wizarding world of Harry Potter. Dun 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 dun. Oh my god!
Would you like to do the intro, Tom?
Me, I am so excited. So, for those that haven't noticed, with the subtle hints, some might say malign portents throughout this episode.
It's definitely malign.
Yeah. So, Night Models have thrown up a whole raft of pictures of their new Harry Potter miniatures game. So, I love a bit of Harry Potter. I can remember my mum buying me the first book because she thought I'd like it because it had a steam train on the front, and I quite like steam trains. And I read it, and it was awesome. And then I read the rest, and they were awesome too. I loved the world and the background and stuff. So now there's going to be a miniatures game, and initially I was like, but then I've seen the models, and they're flipping amazing. And then I saw the game box, and it looks like it reminds me a lot of Shadespire.
Yeah.
And I can imagine it being that sort of thing where you've both got two like mini bands, I suppose, of wizards. But it goes on to Kickstarter on March the 14th, which is odd because it was announced initially as a miniatures game. I didn't know it was going to be a Kickstarter. So whether they've got some big plans that they can't quite bring to fruition.
I don't think so. I think listening to the word on the street, dude, it was going to be released as just a standard release, but they've decided to do it as a Kickstarter because that's where games like this are generally released at the moment.
Oh, okay.
But it doesn't tick any boxes for the need for a Kickstarter. So in that, they don't need the funding. They're not planning on an expansion, blah, 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 any of that. So I think it's a bit of a shame to have that as a negative, but people are not impressed with that. But if you take that out of the picture, I'm fully with you on the models.
They're incredible, and they've captured the likenesses so well,
and added a sense of movement and dynamism to what could really easily be just dull models. They've really utilised the cloaks and the scarves to make that kind of movement within the model. I really like them. I think they're very, very good. Yeah.
And some of the terrain pieces as well. So they've got the door from the Chamber of Secrets in one of the pictures.
Yes.
And it looks excellent. Really, really good.
Yeah.
I actually wonder, and I'm really, really sorry if this does a massive disservice, but I imagine that digital sculpting has helped a lot in that replication.
Yes. Well, it could easily done by hand as well if the sculptor's good enough. Which I guess is what you're.
I don't want to do a disservice if it has been sculpted by hand, but I just think they're just
that's what you meant
so well.
Yeah.
I mean, do you remember when the Lord of the Rings miniatures were done? And they had some good likenesses. Particularly
some of them were
Boromir.
Superb,
and some of them were very good.
Elrond was my absolute favourite, and Arwen. They had the models. Elrond was so close to the guy in the film. It was incredible.
I do think these are just another level of
Well, it helps that they look like they're in 32mm.
Yeah.
I'm a really big fan of 32mm. It's why I think I like the Necromunda models more than their previous iterations, because they're bigger, because they're 32mm scale, you get the slenderness of the Escher much better.
Yeah.
And it's one of the reasons why I got really cross about them changing the scale for Aliens vs Predator, because the 32mm Marines were so good. So I'm glad to see that they're in 32mm, and I think they look fantastic because of that.
They're actually 35mm.
35?
Yeah, according to the website.
I didn't even realise that was a scale.
And the box set looks like it's going to be presented in like a metal tin. It looks like a biscuit tin.
Excellent.
Hopefully with some biscuits.
This is another one of our great ideas.
Yeah.
I think that's a brilliant idea.
Biscuits.
Because when you're doing an unboxing, you kind of want some nibbles.
Yeah.
So you could stick in a bar of chocolate.
I tell you what, though, I wonder how the wands will hold up. You're going to want to look after these miniatures, aren't you?
Yeah.
Be careful with the wands and stuff.
They could do the jelly beans.
What?
In the box. You know, the magical beans.
Oh!
My mum...
It's like, what has this got? Oh,
my mum bought me back a box from the Harry Potter world.
Oh, yeah.
And some of them genuinely taste like arse. They are just absolutely foul. Because they can have like bogey flavoured and cabbage flavoured. Oh, God. So you're eating your way through this packet thinking, oh, that's nice. Toffee, apple, whatever. And then you get like cabbage. Whoa. Horrible.
As long as it's doesn't taste like mushrooms.
Oh,
you
don't.
Flip out and burn something.
Oh, don't. Look, I'm having enough trouble with Skink Mullet here. The bloody mushroom growing off his head.
So despite all my excitement, I don't actually know that much about it. But it looks really, really nice. And it's, yeah, genuine excitement for...
Well, there's loads of these coming out now, isn't there? And they're really cool. And they're really wicked universes. We've got Fallout. We've got Harry Potter. We've got Hellboy. We've got them. There's just so many.
Mm.
And I think they're really cool, the fact that they're contained in a small board game. Really exciting. I've been watching far too much Star Trek as well, so the Medivh Star Trek range has been calling to me.
Yeah, another thing where I had an awesome amount of excitement, but nothing's ever really happened.
Oh, it's just time, isn't it? But
yeah.
Talking about other ranges, we have to mention the ATST for Star Wars Legions, don't we?
Yeah, it's huge.
Absolutely vast. So there's been a scale photo put up, which I will try and source to make sure it's on the show notes. And I think it sits realistically about 3 inches taller than the Knight, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, it's quite considerably taller.
And that's the Imperial Knight, so the big kind of mini Titan. So it's a substantial model, and it's looking really, really nice.
Yeah, it does look good. Very good. Been cried out for a long time, so I imagine it was fairly successful for them.
There is one for the board gamey version.
Yes. That's smaller than that, though.
Oh, it's much smaller. It's to fit on the board game, but it's going to be, that game has every possibility of stealing a lot of my time away.
I love Star Wars, but I have the best science fiction war game ever created already, so I don't need another one.
But you don't have a game about magic wizarding children.
Exactly that.
So you need that.
So I need that.
The model won't annoy me half as much as the film, so...
Their films are works of genius. Tumbleweed.
They're all right.
Right, well, before we launch into yet another film review segment,
maybe we should do that. We should do film reviews. Oh, talking about film reviews, what's the name of that preview that was put out a couple of weeks ago for the Horus Heresy? Ultramarines versus World Eaters and Word Bearers. Oh, what was that called?
I'm sure we spend a majority of the podcast going, what was that called?
We should write more. We should write better notes. Oh, that was phenomenal. Oh, God damn it.
Maybe this could be one of those, find out more about it in the next episode, just to draw people back.
Yeah, they'll find out more about that in the next episode.
But until then, you can find us Facebook, Twitter, YouTube now, in fact. You did some wizardingness to get us onto YouTube, didn't you?
I did, yeah. Our website is temporarily down while we move servers, but that will be sorted out very shortly.
Instagram?
At the 2P's podcast.
At the 2P's podcast. The Instagram.
All one word on all of those places.
Yeah. So, listeners, thank you for joining us, episode 18. The pod is pretty much touched down now. Right next to a Costa coffee, I hope.
What we've gently, gracefully landed.
The
doors open like a flower, and out comes 2P's and head straight into Costa Coffee.
Yeah,
dude, that's amazing storytelling.
It's epic, isn't it? It conjures just fantastic visions. Much better than calling it the P-pod, isn't it?
I still think the P-pod is hilarious. Sorry,
guys. Thank you for joining us. Have a great couple of weeks in the hobby, and we will catch you next time.
Bye.